here we are. We're back with the Vernon Hills update. We're doing some more pandemic programming. As you can see, we're wearing our masks. We're socially distancing, and we hope you are too. And today we've come over to Hawthorne District 73. That's the pre-K through 8th grade district that serves an awful lot of the people here in Vernon Hills. We're here at district office with Superintendent Dr. Peter Hannigan to talk about the school year that's coming up. And what you're going to hear from him is going to be very similar to what you're going to hear from most of the other school districts around us. So, and thank you for taking the time to join us, Dr. Hannigan.
Thanks for having me on today.
And last time we talked, April 28th. Think about how things are different since last fall to this fall, the 28th till now. And I know you, staff, your administrators, your board, you've all been wrestling with a lot, as well as all the other school districts. But you've kind of come up with a plan.
We have.
And if people haven't heard it, why don't you kind of share how it's going to go down here at Hawthorne?
Exactly. Yeah. So, we, as everybody knows, we went full remote back on March 17th due to the executive order from our governor. We implemented that remote plan through the rest of the year following the Illinois State Board of Education guidelines. And then in April of last April, we ended up starting to plan for what the return to learning would look like in the fall, using guidance from the state, the CDC, and the Illinois Department of Public Health. And through that process, we created a return to learning committee. We had over 30 individuals made up of school administrators, principals, union members, teachers, staff, things of that nature on that committee. We had 3 subcommittees out of that, focused on health and wellness, teaching and learning, and social distancing. And we did a lot of research and homework on what is coming out from different states as well and different countries and how that return to learning is looking, and which then translated into our recommendation at the July 20th board meeting and then the subsequent board meeting on July 28th. And we pulled out a variety of different plans. We looked at what full in-person learning would look like, a hybrid schedule, and then also full remote. And ultimately, we decided it was in our best interest, in the best interest of our staff, our students, and our community to start the school year full remote, which is going to look completely different from what the spring full remote option looked like.
So before we talk about what that full remote, just to remind people, I mean, the guidelines and the directives were changing all the way along. You and all the other superintendents were dealing with the same thing. And one of the things was just to get even the distances from kids and figure out how to contact trace or how to do all these things, it became more and more unworkable. And so that is part of the reason. It isn't just like, oh, we're just not sure what to do. It was very specific what kind of processes you had to have, how much facility you'd have to have. You'd have to have massive amounts of space for all of this.
Yeah, there were a number of hurdles we had to overcome. And the guidance, like you said, the guidance is constantly changing. It changes every day, still today. And when we presented out on the 20th, the original guidance from the State Board of Education and was to do the best you can with social distancing. We took the approach of 3 to 6 feet. Then a week later, it changed. We have to have 6 feet social distancing. And then looking at the guidance related to contact tracing, what that's going to look like, the potential inevitable disruptions that would happen with in-person learning, and then also with respect to quarantining. And then the other component was with respect to just being able to manage, just managing it all, and then also the staffing component with potentially offering 2 different options and having 2 separate staffing plans.
It would be like having 2 sets of schools going on at all times, and also everybody spread out in different schedules.
Yes.
It's until you really think about it and wrap your head around it. It's quite
complex.
It's complex.
It's complex.
So let's talk about too. So you had a learning plan that you could put into place right away in the spring. This plan has a different feel to it, though, as you're coming into remote this year. Can you tell some people just a little bit about how it's going to look?
Yes. The best way to describe it is you envision what August of 2019 looked like. Now fast forward to August of 2020. Our students are going to be engaged in learning similar to how they were in the fall of 2019. The only difference is students will not be in person. Our students are going to be engaged in learning just at the same number of hours that they would have been engaged if we were in person. So all of our students are going to follow their traditional homeschool schedule, their bell schedule with their start and end times. Students are going to be engaged in live person learning and then also independent learning with small group work still happening, and they'll be using Zoom to facilitate those interactions with our staff, with all of our staff. They have a regular lunch period, they'll have their specials, encore classes at the middle school schedule. The only change that is one thing that will look different is the middle school schedule. We did recommend last night on August 13th that we're implementing a block schedule for our middle school so that the students don't have to navigate all of the transitions of a traditional school day, and they interact with different teachers, and so we extended the learning block so there'll be an A day and a B day, and all of that information, the presentation from August 13th can be found on our district website. Our principals will begin sending out regular communication. The week of August 24th, our staff will be communicating with our parents. They're going to have virtual teacher meet and greets, which they will then also communicate what August 31st, the first day of student attendance, will look like and how they're going to log on and what that whole process is going to look like.
Okay, so we should still watch, parents should watch their mailbox just like they have any other year to see what's up and when the meetings are and where they can get the information and educate themselves, just like they always have.
Yep.
It's just with the remote feature instead of being in person sitting in the gym.
Yes, we are communicating.
You know what? That's not so bad to not sit in the gym for those
No,
meetings.
we
You
are
can
going to
sit at home.
over-communicate this year with respect to what the school year is going to look like.
Well, and to repeat what you said, it's a full, robust schedule. There is PE, there are all the related arts, there's all
Yes.
of the components. It's just delivered in this way. And there's even all those those parts that are like, we worry about social emotional, we worry about socialization, we worry
Yes.
about communication, we worried about people being isolated. Having the Zoom feature gets that community.
Yes, students will receive the traditional services that they would normally receive in person. The other component is grading. Grading in the spring, we weren't required to grade students, for lack of better word, or we didn't have to, provide grading. Attendance also was more about engagement, whereas in the fall, students are going to be graded just as they traditionally would. We're going to do the same number of assessments that we traditionally would if we were in person. And so it is going to be a robust plan. Attendance will be taken every synchronous period.
Okay. So it is just like you're just sitting at home at the kitchen table instead of moving around in the school.
Yes.
So then when we talk about this too, excuse me, some of those aspects of school that, we talk about, whether it is how to get technology, how to have the rollout to have, a hotspot in the home, those kind of things, you guys have been working on that part of the plan since the spring.
Yes.
And so can you talk about what you've done
Yes.
there to support the families?
So back in June, our Board of Education approved a one-to-one technology device plan. And so all of our students will have one-to-one devices. Our pre-K through second grade students will have iPads, and then third grade through eighth grade will have Chromebooks. Next week, our technology department is going to be surveying our families with respect to the devices that they have, the current District 73 devices that they have at home. Are they operational? Do they need to be worked on? They'll also be surveying the community with respect to Wi-Fi to make sure our students have appropriate Wi-Fi so they can access learning from home. We were very fortunate in the spring to partner with the Key to 73, the District 73 Foundation. They purchased 75 hotspots, which are currently all deployed. We kept those hotspots out in the community because we did offer a summer scholars program, which in fact it concluded on August 7th, which was 3 days a week for students, 1 hour a day in math and or literacy instruction. And then we also had the Hawthorne Enrichment Institute, which we had about 130 students participate in. And so we had all of our students keep their devices over the summer and then also kept the hotspots. And so we are looking and exploring options to provide more Wi-Fi for families in need.
So so you can not only watch and answer your survey when it comes, but you can reach out proactively and say,
Yes.
I need help. I need some technology, I need some Wi-Fi, I need something for me to help my child.
Yes.
That's where you call the district.
Yes,
And you're going to
and we
get
will
it hooked
support
up.
them. And the week of the 24th, we also will have supply pickup, which will include their devices, but also all of their consumables. Students will have access to their textbooks, workbooks, manipulatives, things of that, anything that they are going to need to enhance their learning at home. Our families will be able to come and they will pick them up the week of the 24th.
How's that going to work? Like a car line, or what's that
Yeah,
going to be?
we will have a pickup line with families. There will be a set schedule that will be
Okay.
coming out from the building principals as far as what time is their slotted time for pickup for the supplies and the devices.
Well, and I have to say, you guys got really good at a lot of new processes. I recall seeing people coming in to get their lunches for the week, and that was a car line.
Yes.
And you guys have really figured out how to reach out because, as we said at the top of the segment, school is education, but school is so much more. For some people, that's the meal for the
Yes.
day. There's so many things that the school does, and you are working hard to make sure all those roles continue to be played.
Exactly. We really are the hub that holds the community together and keeps our community thriving, and we're going to do whatever we can to support our community, our students, and our families.
Well, and when we talk about this, you're a dad yourself.
I am.
So you're doing the same thing with your kids at home?
I said this at one of the board meetings. I wanted nothing more than to have us sit back in person. Yes, I have 3 kids, a 12-year-old and twins that are 10. I have a spouse that works full time. Trust me, I wanted school back in session. But at the end of the day, I had to do we had to keep, safety as the number one priority, and the health and safety of our community is number one.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to make this very difficult decision.
Well, and as you said, you are the hub of the community. So you have to make those tough decisions
Yes.
because everybody is coming through the schools at some point or other.
Yes.
So we know it's tough. We know it's adjustments for our families as well. But we'll just keep going at it with an open mind, and we know you guys are working on everything. And talking about working on everything, you all continue to be proactive for the future because
Yes.
you're getting ready for the School for Young Learners to be complete.
Yes.
You've got other work going on in the school district, looking forward to the day when things are more normal.
Yes.
So
Our goal is to return back to normal.
Yeah, can
Get-
you talk about some of those projects, though, because they're great. It's
Yes,
going to be
so
very
the
helpful.
Hawthorne School for Young Learners, we're ready to open up on welcome back our staff on August 24th.
Yeah.
We will be having a ribbon cutting ceremony and things of that nature. We're working through the Middle North project. If you drive down Aspen, you can see all the work going on there. And then we are also in the planning phases for Elementary South, which will begin in the fall of 2021.
Okay, so we got a little time on that one.
Yes.
So we know at some point we'll be back to in-person learning
Yes.
and a more, what we traditionally might call a more normal schedule, and Hawthorne will be here and ready to go for it, and that's great.
We will be ready to go. We're constantly evolving and looking at ways to improve our structures and our systems, and we will get there.
Yeah, exactly. So remember, there's information going to come to you as parents. You can go on the district website. You can watch board meetings. You can do all these things because school isn't the only thing that's remote and actually very convenient. You can watch the board meetings and everything else as well. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of your staff who we know they're working really hard to come up with a new way of doing things, and they're doing a great job at it. So thank you to all y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate it.